Crisis hits Canada. Housing market collapses and mysterious protesters disrupt Ottawa. Canada is facing a critical moment as two major crises converge to shake the nation's economic and social stability. The Canadian housing market, once a steady pillar of wealth and growth, is now collapsing. Across major cities, housing prices are falling sharply, listings are piling up, and buyers are vanishing. This dramatic shift follows years of booming prices and frenzied bidding wars that made homeownership increasingly unattainable for many Canadians. Compounding this economic turmoil, Ottawa's streets have become a stage for a new and mysterious group of protesters, adding layers of tension and uncertainty to the country's political climate. Together, these developments reveal deep challenges ahead for Canada and its people. Since Mark Carney assumed office as Prime Minister after the snap federal election in April 2025, his leadership has been both ambitious and controversial. Carney, well known for his tenure as Bank of Canada governor and his financial expertise, has promoted a vision of government playing a much larger role in managing the economy. His administration argues that aggressive intervention is necessary to tackle inflation, fix housing shortages, and invest in green technologies. However, critics warn that this approach risks concentrating power and wealth in the hands of elites, ultimately limiting personal freedom and economic dynamism. On the other side, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is gaining momentum with his promise to reduce government control, promote individual liberty, and unleash free market forces to create opportunity and prosperity for all Canadians. The collapse of the housing market is striking in its speed and scale. Toronto, Canada's largest city and its most expensive housing market, is seeing a surge in active listings, up more than 30% year-over-year. This means over 30,000 homes remain unsold, creating a glut of inventory and weakening sellers' positions. Vancouver and Calgary are experiencing similar trends, with Calgary's listings almost doubling. This dramatic increase in homes for sale suggests not only a market correction but also the possibility that many Albertans are looking to move, whether to other provinces or out of the country altogether. For sellers, this shift means fewer bids and longer wait times. For buyers, while some welcome lower prices, many still find homes unaffordable given rising interest rates and living costs. This housing market adjustment follows a decade of soaring prices that many experts now agree was unsustainable. Several factors have collided to precipitate this downturn. Higher interest rates, designed to tame inflation, have increased mortgage costs, putting pressure on buyers' budgets. Global economic uncertainties, including supply chain disruptions and rising costs, have dampened consumer confidence. Additionally, skyrocketing prices for building materials and labor shortages have slowed new construction, limiting the supply of fresh homes to the market. The condo sector faces particular challenges. Once a favored investment vehicle, condos are now oversupplied as investor demand dries up and owners struggle to sell. This oversupply adds further pressure to the market, complicating efforts for people hoping to upgrade from condos to houses. Adding complexity to the housing crisis is the rising use of escape clauses in real estate contracts. These clauses let buyers back out if they can't sell their current home, a common occurrence in today's uncertain market. The prevalence of such conditional purchases introduces a risky domino effect, where one failed sale can derail multiple transactions. This conditional chaos creates instability and heightens fears of a prolonged market slump, with many deals at risk of collapse before closing. Experts warn this uncertainty will delay the market's recovery and make home buying and selling far more difficult in the near term. Beyond housing, the debate over the government's role in Canada's economy has intensified since Carney took office. His government has launched sweeping spending programs focused on infrastructure, climate initiatives, and social supports, aiming to stimulate growth and address systemic problems. Yet these programs have drawn criticism for increasing the tax burden, favoring well-connected corporations, and creating dependency on government handouts. Opponents say these policies do not foster true economic opportunity, but instead concentrate power and wealth in a small elite, leaving average Canadians behind. A particularly controversial example is the government's announcement of a $21 million carbon capture project in Alberta. While touted as a forward-thinking environmental initiative, critics see it as another instance of taxpayer money flowing disproportionately to large corporations and insiders. This fuels concerns about cronyism and a political class that prioritizes its own financial gain over the needs of the broader population. Media subsidies are another flashpoint, as significant government funding goes to major outlets like CBC and CTV, while independent media struggle to compete. Critics argue this undermines media diversity and limits the range of voices Canadians hear, which can skew public understanding and debate. In direct contrast, Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives advocate for economic freedom, smaller government, and greater individual responsibility. Poilievre's rallying cry to let workers work, builders build, and farmers farm resonates with many Canadians who feel stifled by bureaucracy, red tape, and government overreach. His growing popularity reflects a deep frustration with current policies and a desire for a government that empowers people rather than controls them. This ideological divide shapes much of Canada's political landscape, promising a fierce battle for the country's direction. Meanwhile, Ottawa has become a focal point for social unrest with the emergence of a new protest group. Reportedly composed of Shia Muslim communities commemorating Imam Hussein, these demonstrators bring professional organization and significant resources to the streets, displaying carefully prepared banners and signage. Their presence marks a new chapter in Canadian activism, reflecting the country's diverse voices and complex social fabric. While their long-term influence remains uncertain, their arrival highlights how various groups are increasingly asserting themselves amid economic uncertainty and political tension. As Canadians navigate these converging crises, they face difficult questions about the future. The housing market collapse threatens the financial security of millions who have counted on real estate for stability and wealth. Meanwhile, the debate over government's role continues to polarize the nation, with citizens divided between hopes for greater intervention and calls for restored freedom. This polarization fuels political volatility, making unity and compromise more elusive.